Ni hao, konnichiwa, shalom, bonjour, namaste, jumbo.
Bienvenidos! Hey, my name is Chadley. This is Reading with Your Kids. We are beaming out to you in the entire universe from the beautiful, book-loving neighborhood of Reedville, the loveliest neighborhood in all of Boston. We are so honored that you're joining us in our mission to help all families grow closer through reading. We do that by sharing fun, thoughtful, and thought-provoking conversations with fascinating people who just happen to be writing books for kids of all ages. Help us spread the word about Reading with Your Kids by telling all of your family and friends about the show and letting them know that they can hear us on the WREB AM/FM 24/7 radio network. And they can find us on the iHeartRadio app, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Good Pods, Podcast Addict, YouTube. Wherever you find your favorite shows, you can find Reading with Your Kids. Really wonderful episode for you today. First up, Bruce Littlefield is here to celebrate his new picture book, Everything You Need to Know About Life You Can Learn from a Dog. Later in the show, Gregory Rizzi is here to celebrate his YA sci-fi book, Continuum. And later in the show, Amy Dulcet-Litch will be here to celebrate her picture book. It's called STEM Day. Hey, before we invite our guests into the studio, want to let you know that we have a brand new Reading with Your Kids certified great read. It's Flew Flocky Doo to the Rescue, written by David Gillespie. This is a charming picture book that absolutely won over our entire certified great read team. Miss Flew Flocky Doo is an energetic, lovable character whose curiosity and kindness lead her on an unforgettable adventure with Lucky Lou, an adorable squirrel, and Peanut, a hummingbird companion. The rhyming text flows beautifully, making this a wonderful read-aloud choice for parents, grandparents, teachers, and librarians. Children will love repeating Flew's cheerful hooty-hoo while following the hilarious grocery store escapade that unfolds. The illustrations are absolutely delightful, bright, expressive, and full of personality. Every page invites young readers to slow down, explore, and enjoy the story. Most importantly, the book gently teaches responsibility, compassion, and problem-solving without ever feeling preachy. It's simply a fun, heartwarming adventure that leaves readers smiling. Highly recommended for families with kids 2 to 7 years old. We look forward to seeing where Flew's next adventure takes her. Congratulations to David Gillespie. Flew Flocky Doo to the Rescue is our latest Reading with Your Kids certified great read. Join us right now from his beautiful farm in upstate New York. Our guest is here today to celebrate his new picture book. What a great title. Everything You Need to Know About Life You Can Learn from a Dog. Please welcome to the show, Bruce Littlefield. Bruce, how are you?
I'm good, Jed. It's so nice to be with you. Thank you for having me.
You're very, very welcome. I love the title. I am a dog guy. I've had dogs most of I was going to say we are dogless at the moment, but actually my daughter and her dog are visiting with us tonight. So there is a dog about in the house right now.
Okay, good. You're not totally without a dog now. Yeah, I've had dogs pretty much all my life as well, except for a period of time when I was in college. But I love dogs. I think they bring, such joy to your lives. And I thought, you know what? Why not write a book about dog being your ultimate life coach?
Yeah, I love it. And boy, just thinking about this, I'm remembering. So my daughter, when we first moved in this we live in a neighborhood called Reedville. It's as far away from downtown Boston as you can be and still be within the city limits. There's a wildlife sanctuary on the other side of our property line. Beautiful neighbors. And when my daughter was 2 and 3 years old, new to the neighborhood, we would take a walk every night, and she got to know every single dog in the neighborhood by name, and she visited with them. And it was great. And it was when she turned 4, it's like, we got to get her a dog. And we did. And it was wonderful. And he was a wonderful companion to all of us for almost 15 years.
And I'm sure that you learned a lot from that dog, even if you didn't realize it at the time.
Absolutely. Yes. The first thing I learned was I didn't know anything about border collies before we brought this dog home and found out how much
a job. They want a job.
Yes.
We have a border collie rescue now, and when I tell you that he is a border collie, he runs the border of our property every morning when he wakes up. It's his first thing to do. He thinks of it as his mission, and that is his work in the morning. But he absolutely is a border collie, true and true. And I'm sure you experienced that as well.
Absolutely, yes. There was the whole time that he was with us, there was a track carved into the green. I can't call it really grass because it's a variety of green, but you could just see where he ran, and it was just carved out. And I don't know about you, Bruce, but I just loved watching him run. It's absolutely spectacular.
Yeah, Jed, the way that this book actually came about is I'm a very happy, positive, optimistic person by nature all my life. And, the things that are going on in the world have darkened my soul a bit, just, with the heavy cloud of what the world is currently experiencing. And I woke up on a particular morning and I was just sort of in one of those days. I saw some bad news in my email. I heard some bad news on the way to the front porch. And then I got to the front porch and there was a giant limb that had crashed through the ceiling of the front porch.
Oh no.
And I literally just welled up in tears. And then our dog, Felix, was as happy as he could be about the day and just went on his day as if, the world was perfect.
Yeah.
And so I thought, I'm really not the lifestyle expert. My dog is the lifestyle expert. And so I started taking notes of, the things that dogs do. And of course, in New York City, I'm constantly exposed to a lot of dogs, and you see a lot of different personalities and things like that. And, the dog traits, which I wrote about in this book, are really wonderful traits. Like the second one that I talk about in the book is you're cute just as you are. Uh-huh. Dogs don't care if their hair is long, their hair is curly, they've got a bald spot, they don't care. They just appreciate that they're themselves. Mm-hmm. And they don't look at another dog and go, oh, you've got spots. Oh, you've got stripes. They don't have that sense. And so, an important thing for us humans to realize is you're cute just as you are.
Yeah.
And, so I went through and sort of made notes for a while about what I thought dogs and were getting right, where we sometimes miss out.
Boy, wouldn't that be wonderful if we could pick up that trait the dogs have of you're a dog, I'm a dog, let's play.
Yeah. Right. And the other things that dogs do, which I also have as one of the lessons in the book, is dogs shake things off very quickly and easily. So let's say you and I got in a spat, we have a moment. Well, in a moment, I'm going to shake it off and let it go. And dogs have that. They don't sort of have a grudge. I took Felix to the vet the other day, which is his least favorite experience. And he shivers and shakes, and it's just it makes sounds that you just can't possibly imagine that could come out of a dog. But the moment he's out of there, that experience is over. Yeah. And, the day is fresh and new, and that's behind him. So he literally lets things go, whereas we humans, will have it on our shoulders all day long.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
you're right.
I've been, really, it's been an interesting and joyful experience for me to sort of reset myself with the dog mentality.
So if someone gets angry with you and calls you a dog, you think, thank you.
Hey, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Hey, what's the reaction been so far when folks are picking up everything you need to know about life you can learn from a dog?
Well, they are smiling and they're feeling that they love it. And, I've watched a few of my friends have read it to their children in front of me. and with their dogs, and it's been so nice. And then they point out where their dogs, like our friend's dog Frankie, the little girl is Eloise, where Eloise was like, oh yeah, Frankie likes to take a nap. Frankie likes to take a nap because in the book one of the things is, dogs just relax. They don't have the guilt that we humans, feel. Oh, I don't want to tell anybody I'm taking a nap, because we don't feel like that. Recharge is, we have to earn it or of some sort. Dog just relax. And so Eloise pointed out that sure, her dog just happily relaxes.
Yeah. Yeah. Boy, Calvin, today I was sitting up on the deck. I had a break. This was a very busy day for interviews. And I'm just kind of chilling out a little bit. And Calvin sits down next to me. Next thing I heard is this big bang as his head hits the floor. And he was just very comfortable. Yeah,
I'm done.
Big head.
And they take that opportunity whenever they get it.
Yes.
It's not like they don't have to set a time that they're going to take the nap at 4:00. They just go and quickly just get one in.
Yeah. Tell me what you mentioned being a dog person most of your life. Do you remember what your first dog was?
Oh, of course, Snuggles.
Snuggles.
Yeah, and Snuggles was an adorable sort of Lhasa Apso Shih Tzu mix. He was, a mutt. But, man, Snuggles brought such joy to I was about 8 years old, because as you said about your daughter getting her a dog at 4, well, I waited until I was about 8, and finally my parents brought home Snuggles. And, Snuggles taught me a lot about caring for another creature. And so, my responsibility was to make sure that Snuggles got his food and, had water in his bowl and all of those things. And so it was my first real experience of caring for something else. And it was, really great training. And then, Snuggles passed away, and we got another dog named Savannah, and Savannah taught me a new set of things that I came to know and experience. So I think, and I'm sure you said you've had dogs throughout most of your life, and they each bring something unique to the table that they teach you.
Yes.
And I've been, very fortunate in my adult life to have 3 really wonderful dogs, but I've learned something unique from each of them.
Yeah. It's funny. One of the first dogs I had was an English setter named London. We had Lady in London. And we were camping in the Adirondacks, and chipmunk ran by, and the dogs went into the woods, and it was my job to fetch my dog. And I went in, and when I finally caught up with London, I turned around and thought, I'm lost. And I was lost all day on that mountain. But London kind of kept me chilled. It was kind of like, yeah, we're going to find our way back. It's okay. And we just kept on going, and I never panicked. And I know if I was by myself, I would have been out of my mind.
Yeah. Well, and dogs do take care of children often in a very nice way. I don't know if you've ever seen any of those viral videos of the dogs that like pull up a blanket on their little sleeping toddler. And, dogs have such a nice, gentle heart and spirit when they are allowed to be nice and gentle.
Yeah. And I'm amazed. So one of the authors that we have on, I was able to meet in real life at an event, and she had this beautiful Akita. And I had no idea that the Akita was a service dog that let her owner know when she was about to have a seizure.
Amazing.
Which blows. It's like, if we can't figure, first off, if we don't know when it's coming, how do you teach a dog to know when it's coming?
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, dogs have such an interesting sense about a variety of things. Yesterday it stormed here, and before it was starting to storm, I realized that Felix was preparing himself for the oncoming storm. We were out in the yard, and he was like, we're moving back toward the house, which he happily did.
Yeah. You brought up that your dog, Snuggles, I think it was a dog that helped you learn how to care for someone else. And, kids, when they're growing up, it's natural for them to kind of be self-centered, and it's me, me, me. And I think you're right. Dogs and pets, but especially dogs, are a great way for kids to learn how to care for something other than themselves.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. And, to watch a child understand that they're caring for another being or another creature is a wonderful thing. I was mentioning my friend Eloise, who's 3, and her dog is Frankie. And to watch her understand and comprehend that, the dog has needs, the dog, don't step on the dog's paws, don't pull the dog's tail. I mean, all of those things that, she's learning, and mutual respect and respect for another creature. It's wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah. I was on your website, and I see that you have co-written lots of books with lots of people that we would know. And what's that like? It's great, because I have gotten over the course of my career to sort of be a student and to learn from the things that I'm writing about. This book, as I said, I studied dogs for a little while to see what their points were. But each person that I've written a book with, so let's take Barbara Corcoran, who's the shark on Shark Tank, as an example. I have, like, as a sponge, sucked up as much great information from them as I can while I'm communicating their story. And like, for example, with Barbara, right after I did her book, I used her lessons and opened a restaurant. Was I a restaurateur? No. But did my restaurant succeed? Yes, because I used those lessons that she had implemented in her business to turn her $1,000 investment to, that $1 billion real estate firm. I mimicked her. So in each of the people that I've written a book with, there's been something like that has sort of stuck with me in a wonderful way. That's really fantastic. I feel a lot the same way. Isn't it so? It's such a blessing. I mean, I love speaking to you, Bruce. It's an honor. But just last week, I spoke to Dr. Catherine Sullivan, who was the first American woman to walk in space.
That's
and
right.
then also go down to the Mariana Trench.
How incredible is that?
I know. It's like, wow, you talk, maybe I'd say hi to you somewhere, but now you're going to sit down and talk to me for a half an hour.
To have a conversation with,
yes.
Catherine, that's amazing.
Yeah.
How was that, actually?
Oh, it was great. She was wonderful.
Yeah.
She was really wonderful. Yeah. Such an inspiration. One of the things I was impressed with, we've talked here on the podcast a lot about we need to get girls in STEM. We need to get girls in STEM. And we're still, 2026, and we still don't have enough. She was in the STEM fields as an astronaut breaking down walls way before, the big push to help. And she said it was all her parents, encouraging her, and her dad, always encouraging her to be curious and all that. Like you were curious with the dogs.
By the way, that's one of the messages in the book, is to stay curious.
Yes.
And I think, especially, we adults, we become so jaded and just sort of set in our things that we know. And back to your question, which was a great one of me and what I've gotten to learn in my experience, curiosity keeps your brain alive and keeps your brain young. And dogs are consistently curious. And, just being curious in and of itself, what a great trait. And it's also, to talk to somebody who is curious, it's a fascinating conversation always.
Yeah. Yeah. What was the craziest thing that your current dog has done recently?
Oh, gosh. Well, just 2 days ago, he had a wonderful fight with a woodchuck. And my dog is 45 pounds, and the looks of that woodchuck was about 35 pounds.
Okay.
And woodchucks have razor sharp teeth.
Mm-hmm.
And Felix has had wars with woodchucks before. We live here in the country, we're at a farm, and his border collie nature tends to make him keep the borders protected from creatures that are, unwanted here. And so he had a unbelievable war with a woodchuck. And at first I, don't want to say the blood word, but I thought, oh no, this is a trip to the vet. But I think it was not Felix's blood.
Oh, good. Felix won.
Yes, that's right. But, today we were they're featuring me on this magazine, and they were coming here to shoot some photos. And Felix was knowing that his work today was to be in the photos. So everywhere he would sit and do his thing. So, he's a good working dog. I mean, he really does. But the craziest thing he's done recently was the fight with the woodchuck. Yeah.
The fight with yeah. I love it. Boy, what's next for you? Are you working on another kid's book? You working on another book with the stars?
Yeah. There's some movie making in the works with one of my books, which is really exciting, and I can't really announce it yet, but it's coming soon. I can say. So that's exciting and in the near future, and then people are asking me what I'm learning from cats. So I think that there's got to be something, and my brother in particular is very disappointed that I haven't gotten a cat book yet. So I'm going to come up with something about, maybe a cat teaching about business or something. I don't know, but something along those lines. And then in the fall, I'm going to actually try to do some traveling and just sort of get some fun adventure under my belt. And I love to travel. And so this fall, we're going to do some, go to Vienna, and then we're going to come back here. And I wrote a book on Airstream trailers a few years back, and we're thinking about renting an Airstream trailer and sort of driving with our dog around America and just sort of taking a month or so and just seeing sort of what that brings.
That's one. I tell you, I had the pleasure of driving back and forth across the country a few years back. It's something that I always wanted to do. I had driven up and down the East Coast hundreds of times, but to actually go across the country, this is a beautiful, beautiful country. It is so diverse, and the people are so cool, and I think you're going to have a great time.
I hope I am. I'm excited about that.
Yeah. Hey, where can people go to find out more about everything you need to know about life you can learn from a dog and more about you?
Well, visit me at brucelittlefield.com. That's my name, brucelittlefield.com. And, of course, you can buy everything you need to know about life you can learn from a dog at any of your bookstores.
Yeah, and we always encourage our listeners to go to their local library and request that they have it on the shelf. This would be a great book.
Please do that. Yeah, it's a great idea. And thank you to all librarians, because librarians are a foundation. When I was a kid, my librarian in our community was, and still is, I keep in touch with her. Her name is Drucy, and I still keep in touch with her, and they are a foundation of the community. So I hats off to them.
Wonderful. We've had a great time speaking to the author of Everything You Need to Know About Life You Can Learn from a Dog. Our guest has been Bruce Littlefield. Bruce, thanks so much for being on Reading with Your Kids.
Thank you, Jed. Thanks for what you do.
This episode of Reading with Your Kids is brought to you by Fart Boy and Reeky Dog, Dino Doom. Fantastic new graphic novel written by New York Times bestselling author Joan Holub, who's written over 200 amazing books for kids. It's school sleepover at the museum. What could go wrong? Well, how about this? A snack-fueled explosion of garbanzo beans and peanuts unleashes a stink so powerful it brings the dinosaurs back to life. Now, Fart Boy, Reeky Dog, and their friends are in the middle of a dino-sized disaster. They have to solve tricky riddles, find missing bones, and stop the stinkiest villain of all, Professor Gravy Pants. Because if they don't, the dinosaurs could take over. Or worse, they could become Dino Dinner. This action-packed graphic novel is bursting with friendships, adventure, and enough laughs to shake the museum walls. If your kids love superheroes, if they love dinosaurs, and if they love to laugh until they can't breathe, then Fart Boy and Reeky Dog Dino Doom is the book for you. Because sometimes the power to save the world comes from the unlikeliest place. Grab your copy today and get ready for a reading adventure that's truly dynamite. Join us right now from the great state of Texas. Our guest is here today to celebrate his new YA science fiction adventure. It's called Continuum. Please welcome to the show, Gregory Rizzi. Gregory, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Wonderful. Sci-fi. That was my groove when I was a kid.
Oh, mine too.
Yeah.
Part of the inspiration behind the book, yeah.
So tell us about Continuum. Who are we going to meet?
In the story Continuum, the main character is a soldier named Jacob, and he is a member of the elite Praetorian Guard. In this city, he lives in a city that's on a distant planet that was colonized by human beings. And he's charged with protecting the city from rebel invaders that are lurking in the dangerous wilderness outside the walls of the city.
So this sounds a little bit different than most sci-fis in that the main character is part of the Empire.
Correct. The story is about his journey as he ventures out in the wilderness to find these rebels. He learns a bit about the history of the planet, how humans got there, and what his place is among them. And he encounters all these different alien creatures, and he discovers the truth about his place in the world and why the world was created. And it's really a morality tale about fathers and the relationships they have with their sons.
Ah, interesting. It sounds like there's a lot of layers to this.
I hope so. I mean, obviously you write it from a certain perspective, and I have 3 children, and so my perspective, and the book has taken me a while to write. So over the course of writing it, I've become a father and have grown in ways that I couldn't possibly imagine. And as I've grown, the story has changed quite a bit, and the perspective of the character has changed. And I think what I'm trying to say with the book has changed over time. And I feel like it's the best version that it could be.
Yeah. Books usually do change a whole lot from the time from that dream, that kernel of inspiration in your brain till it finally hits the bookshelves. But authors change too as they're creating the book. How did writing Continuum change you?
It changed me in a lot of ways. But when I first started out, it was an idea that I had for a movie. And, I lived in Los Angeles, and it was just me and my wife at the time when I started it. In the hopes of becoming a screenwriter and a filmmaker, I work in that industry. So, I started writing screenplays, and I thought this idea that I have is really big and no one's going to trust it to an unknown director. So I wanted it to exist on its own and be consumed as this, just as a simple story. So I decided to try my hand at writing it as a novel. Mm-hmm. And you learn a lot about what you can and cannot do by trying to do something that is really difficult, like writing a novel. So, when you're writing a screenplay, you have, your goal is to make everything as clear and concise and as brief as possible. And then you fill in all of the other details and elements when you make it visually. But with a book, you don't have that. You have to paint the picture with your prose. And so, that switching modes is probably the most difficult, not communicating things visually, but rather verbally was probably the biggest challenge. And I think I've done it well. Hopefully the readers will let me know.
Yeah. This world that you're creating, what's the most unique aspect of this new world?
So in the world, the planet that the humans inhabit is very harsh and difficult to live on. And so, as the people who initially landed, colonized the planet, they started dying off until their children started developing these very unique abilities where they could create things with their minds. So they are able to take the raw materials of this planet and build a civilization from it. And so the city is sort of built on this ability, and the civilization grows and thrives, and but then after the civilization reaches a level, a certain size where everyone is living comfortably on this harsh world, they start to take the people who created it for granted, and they become jealous, and they cast them out, and they become enemies. And so I think that's probably my unique take on, how I see the world, and how, the science fiction is kind of literalizing something that is, maybe a little bit more metaphorical or esoteric. You're sort of taking it and making it into a literal story. And that's what I enjoy about science fiction the most. And I think that's probably the most unique part of this story.
Yeah. The idea that you're a human being living on a distant planet or living in a spaceship, space colony, whatever, that's something that fascinates me. The idea that there may be people at some point, human beings who came from Earth, who are going to live and exist and have very little connection with Earth. That's something that it fascinates me, and it kind of freaks me out at the same time.
And I'm the same way. I mean, this talk about colonizing, places like Mars and things, and you really think about, what do you take with you? What do human beings take with them when they leave? And, how would it affect a growing culture? And what would they value? What would they worship? And what do they base their lives around? And, a lot of things happen in the course of my making the book. And one of them is my return to my faith. And a lot of those elements are in the story, not overtly. I wanted it to make the book, palatable for everyone. And science fiction is a great way to do that. I mean, Tolkien did that very famously. The idea of living somewhere where there's no connection to your past is a really prominent theme in the book. And I think, when we talk about colonization and leaving Earth, that's one of the questions that you have to ask yourself. What do we take with us?
Yeah. You mentioned returning to your faith. Did that return happen before Continuum started to come into the world, or was it a process that kind of happened together?
No, it very much happened late in the writing process, within the last 2 years. And just as I was finishing the book, and you only kind of realize these things in hindsight. I could kind of, now that when I go back and read the book, I can see those things kind of working themselves out, all along the process of writing. And it came to a final culmination toward the end of the writing process. But it's definitely in the book, not overtly, but I can see it all throughout, and hopefully the readers can pick up on that too.
Yeah. Again, you mentioned that the book changed a lot from the initial concept till what's on the bookshelves these days. how did that faith, your return to your faith, did that have a major impact on how the book changed and the story changed?
It did not, and it did without me realizing it, I think. Part of the story is about the idea of creation and what do we as parents leave behind for our children? What kind of world do we create? And it's ultimately, one of the important points of the book is that it's ultimately, we cannot create the world. We can only create the people that inhabit it. And we have to make sure that we're building people with the right moral character and, strength to endure, and particularly suffering, because there's a lot of suffering in the world. So as much, as you become a new parent, I'm sure you understand that you try to do everything you can to change the world to fit your kid. You make it as safe as you can and you guard them as much as possible. And that's very important when they're kids, but it becomes more and more difficult to do as they grow. You hope as much as you can to have created them for the world, to endure the world and to succeed in the world. And so the conflict between those two ideas, I find very fascinating. And I think my view on that has changed over the course of the book.
Yeah. What kind of conversation? Because we love parents sitting down, cuddled up on the couch, reading picture books with their kids, but we also encourage families to continue to read together as kids become independent readers and as they become teenagers and young adults. And, maybe they're not cuddled up on the couch, but they're co-reading and coming together and talking about it over dinner or during a drive somewhere. What kind of conversations do you think families can have as they're experiencing Continuum together?
That's a fantastic question. I wrote it because my kids are a little bit younger than the book is, the age range for the book, but I want adults to read it to their younger kids, maybe 8, 9, 10, precisely because I want them to understand suffering and the role it plays in your life. And for younger kids, I want them to understand that it's a part of life and that you have to endure and you have to keep going. And I want the same for older readers as well. And perhaps for the older readers, they might be able to see a bit more of understand the elements of the story that pertain to a parent's love for their children and, all that a parent sacrifices for the betterment of their children and their family, the growth of their family. So I'd say that's what I would want the older readers to take away. It sounds very heavy, but it's all, hopefully wrapped in a very fun adventure where you can understand these things and they don't overwhelm you and you're more, engaged with the characters and the story and you can empathize with what they're going through. I think that's part of any good storyteller, any good storyteller.
Yeah. Any wild, crazy creatures? Are we going to encounter them in Continuum?
So, okay. Now, I love science fiction. I am not creative enough to invent these crazy alien creatures. But what I was fascinated with, because something has to live on this planet. And so I was fascinated with prehistoric creatures that were larger than anything that we have today. And so one of the first creatures that he encounters in this wilderness is called a Panthera. And it's taken from the Panthera, it's inspired by the Panthera atrox, which is the North American lion, which is now extinct. But the North American lion was larger than any lion in Africa. And so I wanted to take the aliens that he encounters and make them relatable to something on Earth. And in doing some research, I found the prehistoric, I think it might be more commonly referred to as an albatross, but it's a creature called a teratorn. and has a tremendous wingspan. I think it's 7+ feet in wingspan. And, obviously in the story, it's a bit more exaggerated and fantastical, but, they are based on real, animals, prehistoric animals that we have here. Yeah.
Awesome. You want to check out a harky eagle, which lives down in Panama. It's about 6 feet tall.
Okay.
It's a crazy bird. But tell us where we can go to find out more about Continuum and find out more about you.
You can go to the book's website. It's continuumnovel.com. You can also find the book on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and I think a few others. It's also available on Apple Books.
Awesome. We've had a really fun time speaking to the author of Continuum. It is the new YA sci-fi adventure from our guest, Gregory Rizzi. Hey, Gregory, thanks for being on Reading with Your Kids.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Hey, my friends, I want to tell you about a coffee company I recently discovered that really lines up with the values we talk about right here at Reading with Your Kids. It's called Afrera Coffee Company, and they're doing things the right way. The coffee is sourced directly from certified Rainforest Alliance farms in Central and South America, with a big focus on farms in El Salvador. I love El Salvador. They work directly with local farmers, support sustainable farming practices, and even use recyclable and combustible packaging. Now, all of that would already make me feel good about supporting them, but honestly, the coffee itself, it's fantastic. You can really taste the quality. The beans are grown in rich volcanic soil and carefully roasted, so the flavor really comes through smooth, rich, and super aromatic. Now, whether you're somebody who loves a strong espresso to get moving in the morning, or you prefer a lighter roast while reading a good book, Afrera has something you're going to enjoy. And this is kind of beautiful. 5% of all their sales goes to charities helping conserve and preserve the great outdoors. So if you'd like to try coffee that tastes amazing and supports good people doing good work, head on over to afreracoffee.com. That's AFUERA coffee.com, and use the promo code READ to get an exclusive 15% off your order. And of course, when you use the code, you're also helping support the podcast. Great coffee and helping families grow closer together. I call that a pretty magical way to start your day. Join us right now from the great state of Texas. Our guest is here today to celebrate a whole lot of Kid Lit. She's the author of STEM Day. She is the host of Kids Ask Authors Answer, a great podcast. Please welcome to this show, Amy Doslich. Amy, how are you?
Woo! I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me on.
Glad to have you on. Thank you for making time. You must be pretty busy with the book and the podcast, and you also are arranging a free kids download ebook day.
That is right. Yes. August 5th, there's going to be at least 125 books for free, hopefully more. So basically you just go out to my website. It's amydoslich.com, and you can see all the free ebooks that are already out there, ready to download on the big day. It'll be free.
Awesome. Well, let's start celebrating your book. It's called STEM Day. What's this book all about?
Sure. So basically my daytime job, I just recently retired, but while I was working, I was a retirement actuary. And basically nobody knows what that is. And so I figured I would write a book about a bunch of careers that most kids don't ever hear about, and even adults for that matter. So, it just has different careers like an actuary and an air traffic controller. It's all related to STEM, so science, technology, engineering, and math. So just all different kinds of careers that fall into that category, those categories.
Awesome. So as an actuary, you're kind of figuring out how much money this company needs to be paying off these people when they retire, and how long are we going to have to pay them before they die?
That's exactly correct. Yes.
Yeah. You guys probably put it a little bit more eloquently than I
did. But yes, that's great. Yes.
So how did you go from being an actuary to writing kids' books?
My daughter had this pink bunny that she just absolutely loved. And I have always enjoyed art. And I just thought, wouldn't that be really neat if I made a book that had my daughter and her favorite stuffed animal and, also make it relatable to other kids so that they would enjoy it as well. So one day I just was like, let's see if I can do it. So I started researching like how to, draw, because I'm also the illustrator of my books. So I, I watched a bunch of YouTube videos and so I really got into that. And I just really love it. I love drawing. And so that's probably my favorite part of making the books is actually the illustrations. And my books are about my girls. So it's the Hannah Banana and Mary Berry series. So they are the main characters. So it's something that I can do for them and at the same time reach other kids that can relate to the stories too.
Yeah. So in STEM Day, how does is this just a list of different professions, or are we going to experience a story where the kids learn about the profession?
It is a story. So basically, you follow Hannah, who goes to school, and they're having STEM Day at school. So all of the kids bring a significant person in their life, let it be their parents, or maybe it's a grandparent, an aunt or uncle, and they each have a career. And then it kind of talks a little bit about what the job is, and then it kind of shows like a funny image of what the kids are thinking a job would be like. So, for example, there's a food scientist, and so it says that they examine show. I guess they explain. I explain that in my book. It's been a while since I looked at it. But on the right side is they're in this chocolate fantasy world. So they're thinking, oh, this is why I love chocolate so much. And they're floating down a chocolate river. And so it mixes like a fantasy and also at the same time you're learning about the careers.
Awesome. Tell me, kids ask, authors answer. What a great idea for a podcast. Can you tell me when you launched it's a podcast and YouTube channel, correct?
That's right. Yes. Yeah. So we launched it in November of 2024. And I think we've had over 30 authors on there now. And basically the way it works is that we have an author come on and we do a read aloud of their book. And so all the kids can enjoy the read aloud and then they get to send in questions, and any questions that they have, they send them to us. And then the author is going to answer them live on our podcast. And then we feature the kids. So if you want, you can send in a video, or it can just be text or audio, whatever you want to send. And then we put the kids into the recorded. So we record it and we edit it and we add the kids back in so they can see themselves asking the questions.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. Yeah. Where did the inspiration for that come from?
It's funny. So I do it with a friend of mine who's actually in South Africa. So we never met. We just are on Instagram together, and we're both authors. And I did a live, and then she did a live, and she goes, wouldn't that be fun if we did some lives together? And I said, yeah, that would be fun. I was like, well, we have to come up with an idea of why we would be live. And then that's just kind of the idea that we came up with. He said, well, that'd be really neat if we let kids ask questions and interview authors. And it just kind of sparked it from there.
One of the things I made a living doing educational magic shows and clown shows for 35 years, and it was a lot of fun and taken lots of questions. And so I know that some kids can ask some very insightful questions, and some kids can come up with questions that I have no idea where they come from.
Exactly.
What were some of the wild questions that kids have asked so far on the Kids Ask Authors Answer?
So there was this one book, the author, her book was called Wonder World, and it was showing you all the different continents, and it's a wonderful book. One of the questions was just, have you ever been to the Fry store?
The Fry store. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I get that connection. Absolutely.
So there definitely are some humorous questions that pop up.
Yeah, I bet. Have you had an experience where the kids have stumped an author?
We have had quite a few of those. I can't think of any off the top of my head what the questions were, but I definitely know that we have had some that have stumped them.
Oh, I bet. Yeah. Where do you get the kids from? Are these folks that are subscribers to the show, or are they friends? Folks that you're connected to?
Yeah, most of the time, right now, it's people that either I know or Sam knows. We're hoping to get a lot more subscribers sending in questions, and but currently it's for the most part it's people that we've met on Instagram that send in questions as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This must be an exciting time for you, retiring from what I imagine was not the most exciting job in the world, trying not to pass judgment, but, working with numbers and how long is this person going to be here before they die? It doesn't seem like it's a complete opposite of what you're doing now.
It is exactly the complete opposite. Yes. That's the best way to explain it. I was an actuary for, I think it was like 18 years or something. And so once you kind of have done the role for a long time, you just don't really have anything else to learn. Like, it's not like there's anything new in the pension world. Mm-hmm. So, that was one of the reasons why I really got into children's books as well, is just, it was exciting. It was something new. It was something to get me, my creative juices going again and just doing something different. And so, yeah, that's kind of why I really enjoy just doing this podcast and writing my books, and it's really enjoyable for me to use that side of my brain versus the math side that I've used for so many years.
Yeah. So let's get back to your free ebook day. This sounds exciting. So it's August 5th.
That's right. Yes.
August 5th, kids can log into your website and they can download all 200 ebooks that you're hoping to be there, or is there a certain number that they can download?
No, they can download them all. There will be some buttons where you can download in bulk. So if you want to just download, I think it's 20 at a time. Otherwise, Amazon starts getting mad at you if you put too many. So there's 20 at a time that you can download, or you can just scroll through and find out the ones that you are most interested in. Download one at a time.
Wow. And we have lots of authors who listen to the podcast. If there's an author out there that would like to get involved, how do they go about that?
Basically, I am on every social media platform there is. So it's Amy D. Mom Author is my handle. They just message me. We basically will take any picture books, chapter books, as long as there are not any AI illustrations or clip art.
Okay.
That's the one criteria.
That's it. Yeah. Well, this sounds fantastic. And STEM Day is available at all the usual places?
That's right. Yes.
Yeah. And if folks want to subscribe to Kids Ask Authors Answer, where can they find that?
Yeah. So we are on YouTube. If you type in Kids Ask Authors Answer, you'll find us. The channel name is actually Family Read and Discover, but either way, you'll find us. And we're also on Spotify and other podcast channels as well. So we're out there.
Isn't it amazing how many podcast platforms there are?
Yes.
Awesome.
I'm sure that you're on all of them.
I couldn't tell you how many I'm on. We get notices every once in a while. We're on the Spotify of India and the Spotify of Africa and the Spotify of the Middle East. And I can't pronounce all the different platforms.
Mm-hmm.
So, and your personal website?
So I do have a dedicated Kids Ask Authors Answer website. So on there, we have all the books listed that we have ever had on the show. And each book, we have lesson plans, fun activities to go along with it. There's usually coloring pages and activity pages as well. So that's one of my websites that I have. And then I have my personal website, which is amydoslich.com.
We've had a really fun time speaking to the author of STEM Day, the host of Kids Ask Authors Answer, and the driving force behind a free ebook day coming August 5th. Our guest has been Amy Doslich. Hey, Amy, thanks for being on Reading with Your Kids.
Great. Thank you so much for having me again.
We hope you've enjoyed this episode of Reading with Your Kids and will join us for the next exciting episode of the show. If this episode made you smile or gave you something to think about, please consider sharing a link to the show with someone you love. Leave a 5-star review and, of course, subscribe to the show wherever you find your favorite shows. Like to thank the folks who made today's show so wonderful, starting with our guest, Bruce Littlefield. Please be sure to check out everything you need to know about life you can learn from a dog. Also want to thank Gregory Rizzi. Please be sure to check out Continuum. And we want to thank Amy Doslich. Please be sure to check out STEM Day. I want to thank my incredible team, Daylene Rose, Advina Lopez, Chris Doherty, Ella Battier. I want to thank my beautiful wife for all the love and support she gives me. Most of all, we want to thank you. You are amazing. Thank you so much for helping to make the world a better place. You do that every time you read with your kids. And also thank you for making sure that your kid has the best chance to succeed and be happy in life. And you do that every single time you read with your kids. I'll be looking for you in the next episode of Reading with Your Kids.